Can you speak about forgiveness?
Yeah. Who's asking the question?
Heidi?
Heidi, yeah. Well, it's again like all these subjects, I speak about it, constantly because, forgiveness is essential, not only for a spiritual life, but just learning how to live here like a human being. Learning, just a simple reality that everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does things to other people that are, in a crazy sense, unforgivable, but have to be forgiven. And without that forgiveness, you understand the world doesn't move on. And more importantly, forget about the world. We as individual human beings get stuck. We get stuck in a lack of forgiveness inside ourselves. We get stuck in grudges, revenge, and anger. And not only does it make our life worse, but it also makes the life worse of many people around us. So it takes a very big heart and a very deep understanding of life to just ask somebody, you for forgiveness or to forgive yourself. But it's essential because otherwise we are stuck. We can't move on. We're grounded in one place, which is revenge, anger, the inability to
Mhm.
get rid of that, instead of building a chakra system inside that allows the heart to open and to say, okay, that person did something, that I didn't like. That person did something that was, terrible, but I have to move on in my life. I can't be holding grudges. I can't be angry. I can't waste my energy that way. I have to just let go of it. And letting go of it, you're not doing it for the other person. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it because one has to move on in their life. We cannot live in stagnant water. We cannot live in a world of revenge. I mean, it's like, what's his name? Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye, the entire world is going to go blind. And it's very profound what he said and very true because people don't let go. I mean, this is what all these wars are about. This stuff going on in the Middle East. It's all about revenge and anger and I'm right and you're wrong and et cetera, et cetera. And there's no resolution to it. There's no real resolution to it. I mean, they come to terms, but those terms last for 2 years, 3 years, and back in the same nonsense again. There's no forgiveness, and people don't listen to each other. People don't learn from each other. People don't learn from their own mistakes and the things that they have done, you know, to disturb another human being. And learning to listen is really the beginning of learning how to forgive and learning to look out at the world and to see the pain, the suffering, the difficulties that people go through and have compassion and have love for them and really understanding and not making their lot worse because we refuse to forgive or making our own lot worse because we refuse to forgive. I mean, one of the most extraordinary aspects of being alive is to live with an open heart, to feel that love inside, the compassion for other people, compassion for our own suffering, what we have to go through every day of our lives. And to realize there are 8 billion people in the world and they're all going through one thing or another in their daily lives. And the people that create most of the madness in the world are the people who can't forgive and the people who, in their own minds, are always right. They know better. And they never listen to other human beings and learn from them about how to improve their own self, as well as to open their heart and be compassionate for the stuff that other people go through. Be compassionate. This is not easy. I mean, one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight is just having patience with oneself. And don't think that you have to be perfect, and don't think that you're going to master any of this, in 6 months, in 3 weeks. It takes time. I mean, my teacher, Rudy, said it better than anyone I ever heard say it. It takes 9 months to have a baby. Try having a baby in 6 months, and it takes 1 second to die. I mean, when he told me that, boy, I tell you, it went right through me because it was so profound and so true. And it said, Stuart, you've got to have patience. You don't want to eat sour apples. You got to wait for the apple to ripen. You have to wait for yourself to ripen. You got to work on yourself, nurture yourself inside, build a connection with higher energy in the universe, and allow yourself to ripen. That gives one patience. It also gives one forgiveness because you begin to understand that most of humanity is going through the exact same thing. And the people that we really have to forgive, our parents, our children, really, I mean, essential. They are the channel we chose to come into the world, our parents. And we have to realize that very few parents in this world really know how to be parents. That's true. They have their own problems and their own insecurities and their own difficulties they have to contend with. And too often, those difficulties are taken out on relatives, on children, on the people that are closest to them. And all of this is about building a system inside oneself to allow oneself to ripen, to allow oneself to truly live in a state of forgiveness as we interrelate with other people. And not know better than anybody. Just listen to them, learn from everybody. Everybody on this planet has something to teach each and every one of us. And if we listen to them, even if it's we learn what not to do and how not to live, they have something to teach us. And forgiveness is essential because, as I say, you don't forgive, you're stuck. You're stuck. You live with a grudge, with anger, upset at other people.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I there's like this shock that's coming up for me. Um Kind of on the heels of that, like the forgiveness.
A shock,
Um
a shock.
Shock like in my body.
Yeah.
Um I don't know, is there anything you can offer around that, like how to be with that?
Well, it's just, changing, Heidi. And that shock is just Shakti hitting blocks inside you to break up the blocks so that you can change inside yourself. It's nothing negative. I remember I would go to one of my teacher's meditation classes, and for an hour afterward, I would just throw up. And it really used to bother me. And then I began to realize I was just getting rid of garbage. I was getting rid of that stuff that has been congesting me all my life. And for like a month and a half, it was vomiting. And shocks, like you just described, are the same thing. It's the energy hitting the blocks inside you. It's like dynamiting to get rid of the blocks so that you can really move on in your life and build a chakra system that's strong enough to deal with these little earthquakes that take place. I have them all the time, Heidi, these little earthquakes. that take place inside me. I've had them for years, and I know they're all about me moving on in my life, breaking congestion, inner blocks. And I just open my heart and I just feel gratitude. And that's one of the ways of healing that kind of situation. Just feel gratitude in yourself. And just to finish this, don't think under any circumstances you've got to be perfect in this one. I mean, God is perfection. The rest of us are imperfect, and imperfect, being imperfect is one of the ingredients that makes up a remarkable soup that's called humanity. Imperfection is what makes everybody grow. So this whole idea in your brain that you got to be perfect at what you do is just a way of keeping yourself from growing. Because imperfection makes you work on yourself. So instead of being upset that you haven't done everything perfectly, be grateful because it's making you learn how to get closer to perfection. And what is perfection? That's infinite energy in the universe. We will never get there, understand, but each step we take closer to it enables us to grow and get more creative in our lives.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they'd like to? Have patience. I really mean it. Have patience. It takes time. I've been doing this for a very, very long time. And I still find blocks and things I have to work over and in myself. I remember my teacher, Rudy, years and years of working, and he would be sitting there and doing inner work to break down the resistances and blocks inside himself. And he told me that's part of growth. Without doing that work, you never grow. I mean, it's like an artist or a writer that finds a way of, creating their art that's successful. And they keep doing the same painting over and over and over again. The greatest of the artists are always the ones that are reaching for something deeper, something more important, something they haven't expressed yet, overcoming themselves to get there. Same thing with musicians and playwrights and theater people. It's an endless process of plummeting the depths of oneself to find a new voice, a new creativity, a new element that we haven't explored before. And that's the gift of God, exploring new elements that we haven't explored before and not living in a stagnant world. Mm. Does anyone else have a question? I remember there was an artist, I'll never forget this as long as I live. I used to go to Sotheby's and Christie's, and I would see his paintings there. And I forgot it, Vlaminck, his name was. He was a very famous turn of the 20th century artist. And every painting was a clouded, sky with rain and a path through a village. And every one of them was exactly the same. And every one of these paintings were priced at $200,000 to $300,000, and I never understood it. I never could understand this. It's like the guy found some commercial thing that worked, and he was just redoing it. I once went to an exhibition of the Fauves in Los Angeles at LA County Museum when I was in LA, and they had all those the Fauves, that whole group of artists. And he was among them. And there were 3 or 4 of his paintings there that would drop dead beautiful. That would just drop dead beautiful. And I saw a couple of these paintings come up at Sotheby's and Christie's, estimated $5 to $10 million a piece. And it just told me about the artist. He reached a place where he just leveled off. And he kept painting the same sky, the same road through the village, the same trees, everything was the same, the dark canvas. And meanwhile, when he was younger and part of that group with Matisse and all those Braque and all those people, he was painting masterpieces. Somewhere the energy ran out. And most people live that way. They arrive at a state and then they just level off because it somehow gets a little easier. They can be successful in the world and it doesn't require them to continue to plummet inside themselves for deeper levels of creativity. But if you want a spiritual life, a real spiritual life, it'll demand that you have to keep going deeper in yourself to find new levels of creativity. Because the energy of God is infinite energy in the universe. It's not limited to anything.
Stuart, on the note of that, I have a question actually, because for meditating, but also for creating or finding inspiration when you're in stress, or again, what I asked also the week before, when you have like anxiety, it blocks you from going into the meditation or having
Yes,
inspiration.
Paul, it does. So then you have to learn how to get
Yeah.
centered inside, get balanced inside,
Mhm.
master the inner chaos, that
Mhm.
noisy mind, those emotions that don't stop, and master it and get quiet and let the creativity then flow through.
Yeah, but when there is anxiety, it's really difficult to find any centering
Yes,
inside.
I know that, Paul, but that's part of the work, learning how to master yourself, learning how to master internal chaos. That's part of the meditation that I teach. And it doesn't come in 3 classes. It comes, but it comes in time where you can get your mind quiet. You can get your emotions quiet. You can transform all your problems, economic problems, whatever they are, you can transform them into chi inside yourself. And they become, instead of something bothering you and making you crazy, they just become energy that helps you to grow. You can learn how to do this. And that is really one of the most essential elements of what I learned from my teacher, Rudy, and what I try to teach here, how to transform internal chaos into an open heart, into harmony, balance, a quiet mind, uh, conscious use of sexual energy, you put sexual energy with emotional energy and mental energy, you have the local insane asylum. But one can master these energies by learning how to build a chakra system inside that enables you to do it. And that's all this class is about. That's what it's about. I really mean it. Once you get that mastery, you become a child of God. That creative energy just flows through you. I mean, I don't know. Look, I'm not a kid anymore. Most people my age are living under a coconut tree in Miami Beach, drinking Coca Locos and maybe playing a round or two of golf every month, and producing books. I mean, it's just what? I don't even know where that came from, except my chemistry is quiet inside and it allowed that creative energy to manifest. But it took time to master the chaos. And once you get the chaos master, you cannot believe how creative a human being is. It's amazing what exists inside a human being. So, as I've said 1,000 times, this meditation is not about a spiritual life. It's about mastering one's inner self so that one can have a spiritual life. One can live an extremely creative life because you have mastered the chaos inside. I hope that's clear, Paul, because years ago you had the same problem. I would
Yes.
like you to get
Oh,
past it.
yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Maybe someday Candace will come back to class. Give her my best, please, okay? And your baby, well, how old is your kid now?
She's 6 years old now.
Oh my God, she was just born the other day.
Yes.
Incredible. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I hope it's clear what I'm talking about, you know, because it touches on so many different elements that are so important for people to master in themselves, to learn how to, and not have expectations, just do the work on learning how to master yourself without thinking you have to be perfect at any point in your existence, because you never will be. But finding the imperfection as one of the greatest ingredients in your, you know, soup, in your human, your the soup that's your humanity. Imperfection is probably one of the most important ingredients because it truly makes one work on oneself and uncover deep levels of creativity. Does anyone else have a question? Okay,
I
God.
I just actually I want can you speak a little bit more about like not leveling off? Like I actually just love that what you're saying with the example of the paintings and that just really struck something in me.
Well, look, uh, Heidi, just work with what I just said, okay? It was a lot. Work with it, go deeper in yourself with it, use it. Don't get upset at yourself if you get shocks and there's a little tension inside. Use everything nothing is negative. It's all there to teach you how to grow inside yourself. And then go to the next level, and maybe you'll have another question. It will take you even deeper. Okay, so just work with this. Does anyone else have a question? Not avoiding you, dear. That smile on your face is wonderful. It's a whole different Heidi who I met like 2, 3 weeks ago. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? The only thing I regret is I can't have you all in the room and give you all a big hug after class and have dinner, lunch, whatever with everybody. I mean, I used to have part of my life. Now it's all on everywhere, all over the world, from Brazil to Israel. They're here, and it's very difficult. But I try to give retreats, and I hope people at some point make an effort to attend them and benefit from what goes on in those retreats. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, thank you. God bless you all. There'll be a class on tomorrow evening. Mhm. And there's a class tonight. Pat Fay is teaching a class tonight. So God bless you all, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.